Hello, welcome to another episode of Unlock Your Soul Magic with Nikki. Today is going to be an update and share. If you're watching this, I look different. I don't know if I'll be able to put a cool background, but I'm in my room. And update is that I injured my hand. So just content warning if I'm just showing my hand with a bandage wrapped around it. And the content warning is I'll talk a little bit about this injury, a burn. So if you want to skip ahead a few minutes, go ahead and do that. If you don't want to hear more details, I completely understand. Take care of your nervous system. But if you're open to hearing, I went glamping and me and a travel kettle did not get along. I have a lot of respect now for steam. So I got a steam burn on my hand. It was very painful in the moment. It has been doing much better since. I will know more as I have more doctor appointments and how it's all healing. But it has definitely been a speed breaker of sorts for someone who is I tend to go into overachieving, tend to do more doing than receiving, tend to push myself. These are old habits, old patterns that were very rewarded, that made me very successful in many ways, in a 3D sense, in a very practical, in the corporate world, in my education. And here I am, like, not quite having use of my dominant hand. So anyway, if you're scroll to this point here, I'm just going to talk about how it has been to go through this experience and what it is teaching me without giving it more meaning than necessary is. I feel like the message I want to convey, and maybe it meets you where you're at or meets a version of you that may have gone through something like this in your own way in the past. So I am here without my crown, without any of my cool backgroundy things, because I'm just like, I just need to share an update with you all, because you are soul family in many ways who have chosen to journey with me. And I want to take you back to the time before I went on my trip. Before I went on my trip, I was very much in this place of, in my business, okay, I have this job loss ritual that I recently released into the world. I invite you to check that out in my links below on my website, nikkijoshi.com, if that's something that meets you where you're at. And sending you a lot of love if a big job change or loss or layoff, anything of that sort is something you're navigating. So back to before I went on this glamping trip in the wonderful, lovely, super grounding, beautiful Yosemite, I was in this place of, I'd love to get this out before I go on my trip. And in fact, I've been saying that for weeks now. Like, this week I will get everything done. And I would run into, here's like a little technical thing I need to figure out. Oh, I'm not quite sure about that. Oh, I should probably test this. Oh, I don't like this invoice format. Oh, I think I want to update the image. Maybe I should. And there were all these little touches that I would keep thinking of, and some bigger things to figure out, because I was testing out a new platform to build my rituals, like healing rituals for different transition points, because it's a place and time many clients tend to find me. And courses in the future. I do intend to teach more on the Akashic Records. I intend to blend spirituality and energetic practices with very practical things we do in our day-to-day, because it's the kind of messages I tend to get for my clients from my guides as my soul activation sessions tend to flow. And so I'm in the season where I've pulled back on doing one-on-ones, keeping energy for other goals in my life and intentions, and thinking, okay, I think I can get this ritual out this week. And it didn't happen that week. Oh, I can get it out this week. I'll have these pockets of time. And then it's the week before we're about to leave for Yosemite, and I was navigating having a guest at home and lots of other, you have to pack for this trip, you have to plan certain things. There were all these to-dos, and I still remember the Thursday before I left. Was it the Thursday? Yeah. I was like, okay, I have some time now, and I had this work block, and I was ignoring people around me. I'm like, let me keep working through my list. And I hate working through a very rigid set of steps. I love to flow and play, and like, oh, this is speaking to me now. I have given myself permission as I've gotten to know myself and my very dominant Pisces traits, to not be hyperstructured and to let myself flow and intuit and feel into what I want to do next. And yet here I was just sitting, okay, I need to work through my list, and I had use of both my hands. I can use a lot more now than I did before. You can even see my thumb a bit. So I was able to type and click and edit and test and all the things I was doing. And then by late afternoon or early evening, whenever I had completed my work block or getting close to completion, I realized, you know what, I don't know if I can finish it. And I had been putting quite a bit of pressure on myself to finish. And I was like, can I finish it later tonight? Do I just let it go? And I kind of let it go, but I was like, as soon as I'm back, I can get it done. I don't quite remember what decision I made. It feels so long ago, even though it was not that long ago. And so I went for this trip, and I was so enjoying like the slowness and the vibe of just being immersed in nature. But I think when this injury happened, and I'm not going to talk anything more about it at this point in case you're bracing, just inviting you to take a deep inhale and exhaling, letting go of any stress as you exhale through your mouth. We can regulate through hard things. And I know for those of you who find yourself being extra sensitive to the world, there are difficult things, news that's just putting you constantly in this bracing state. Shoulders are hunched, neck is tight, and I'm here to tell you, you don't need to be in that place. You can regulate, you can breathe through it. So with that reminder for you and for me, I remember going to this, and suddenly all these other tasks and to-dos on my list, they were not as important as figuring out care for my injury, taking care of myself, going slow. I'm like, okay, whatever I need to do to heal sooner. And it kind of quietened the chatter in my head that was like constantly thinking about, okay, maybe then, oh, maybe that day, oh, this day I might have time. And suddenly it was like I was not putting pressure on myself, because I was like, I need to give myself space. I need to honor where my body is at. And while physically, otherwise I was doing okay, I did need to nurse this injury and just go slow and even honor the emotions that were coming up. I was like, at that time, not sure how this would heal and how would this be. Like, I haven't really experienced a significant injury of this kind. I'm like, what do I expect? Is this like a 1 week thing? Is this like a month thing? Is this longer? I don't actually know all those answers fully right now, but I feel much better than I did at that time, and I will receive that and feel grateful for that. And so what a contrast, just that one incident that affected a very small part of my body, if you will. Yes, it's important to use your dominant hand, but at the same time, I was able to get help from family. I was able to do a lot of things with my left hand. I was quite impressed with myself. And I was able to find like if I needed to shower, there are these sheath like mitts that you can get for your hand or even your leg to cover any dressings or like a cast, even if somebody needed that. So I discovered there's a world of support that you can tap into, and I leaned into all of that, and I gently let go of this pressure I was putting to release this job loss ritual into the world at a certain time or as per a certain schedule that I had decided, and I could redecide or revisit that decision. And so that's what I did. I went back and just waited, and this is the part about trust, is at some point trusting that the energy, the urge, the time, the space would come back, and it did. And I feel like a certain weekend, maybe a weekend later or so, I was feeling spacious enough, rested enough, and from this very rested place, I was like, all right, I think I'm ready to complete these final steps. I had to do one more round of testing, like just go through the whole sequence of the invitation to the offer, to like the thank you page, to the, like I had created a Google Doc journaling guide and making sure it lined up with all of the modules and videos within the ritual, and like little tweaks of consistency, like, oh, some things is not quite center aligned. Well, that's the consultant in me who has spent way too much time formatting PowerPoint slides, and so all these little things matter to me now. But I definitely got to this place where I launched it from a very easeful place. Maybe this gives you permission to, I made a plan and now I'm not able to stay on track with that plan. And if it's a plan where you are able to make changes for yourself, I invite you to do so. I know many times you can't, and there are other people depending on you, other important things depending on you, and I would still ask you to really interrogate and question, can you truly not change that? Is there a little bit of a push, like a nudge that you could do? Like, I could do that tomorrow. Do I really have to promise doing that tonight? Could I even say next week? Would that be the end of the world? Just saying. As someone who has definitely built cages for herself with super tight deadlines and impossible turnarounds and promises to others, especially at work, but even at home. And coming from a place of guilt, or I can do it, or how can I not do it, because my identity is tied to being able to do it all, which I've had to dissolve. I'll come back to my storytelling of so I was testing all this, and one of the steps I did before launching was I updated my I have emails that go out every week. They are called Akashic Insights. They are really a compilation of many Akashic channelings I've done over the years. Some are very recent, some are much older. They all feel so poetic and special, and really, I feel touch a deeper part of us, because I feel like it's through visuals and imagery the guides are trying to convey a message for how we can think differently or take on a different perspective to help move through our lives with more ease and flow and trust and magic. And I'm covered in chills as I say that. It's a very special, close to my heart series of emails that I send every week. I aim to do it every Monday or so, but again, back to giving myself permission to be flowy and spacious. It may not always happen, and this was certainly a week where that happened, because I went ahead and I had updated the footer of this letter. It's a bit of a cumbersome process to do this in my mailing list software, let me say. And I had updated, oh, this is the job loss ritual, put the image, put the links, set it for, okay, I should be done with this by the weekend. Was not done with getting the ritual ready to go by the weekend for it to go out in the Monday email. So what did I do? I switched off the automation that would have hit send on Monday at that time. I pre-prep the email and make sure it goes out by the following week. And I wasn't ready, so I switched off the whole thing. And so no one got a newsletter for a week at least. I actually have to go back and check the exact number of days. It could be even 2 weeks. Until I again found time and space to go back to that ritual and test it out again and close the little bits and pieces of things I needed to finish. And I did eventually. And I did launch it. And it took weeks beyond what I thought it would take. So many weeks. And as I sit here and reflect with you all, like that really frustrated parts of me that are used to getting things done quickly and achieving things and going fast. But at the same time, it comes at a cost. Not always. Sometimes it's fun and energizing to all parts of me, many parts of me. And I have chills as I say that. And there are times where it's coming at a cost of some parts of me just want to nap. Some parts of me just want to even tidy up my home, believe it or not. Or just be and not do. And I wasn't giving myself enough permission to do that. And I think this was a nudge not to give this incident more meaning. This wasn't a sign from the universe to slow down. I don't want to label it that way. I don't think it was that. I've even gone to my co-channel friends and asked, like, is there more meaning behind this injury? And they were getting nothing of that sort. And even my guides, when I've talked to them, have not given me any indication of that sort. Nothing like, oh, because you were being bad, you needed to stop and we had to redirect you. There can be this kind of messaging out there in the spirituality community, and it may be true in some cases, like you needed a redirection. Yes, that is quite possible. And I also want to caution, as spiritually aware people, very intellectually dominant people, you spend a lot of time in your head. It's easy to go into this overthinking, meaning-making place of like reading even more into the signs and messages of what's going on than what might be true, or maybe that's actually making it feel even harder for you. And I'm giving you the option to say, I get to make this mean whatever feels good to me. And to me, just taking the invitation to slow down and rest and take care of my body, because I'm human and humans go through things, and whether they be emotional or physical or something happening in your life that's stressful, it's good to honor that. It's good to be honest and acknowledge that. And it's especially important to be honest and take things off your plate and not do everything, not try to be everything. It is okay to slow down. I'm giving you that permission slip. And maybe that doesn't look like I cancel all my meetings in the next day and I don't do anything on my to-do list. It just might mean, okay, I'm going to give myself space for a nap on a Friday afternoon when work slows down, or maybe on Sunday afternoon or Saturday afternoon, like some day where you can, like, I think there is space for me to do this, or I'm going to go on that meditation like call or online retreat, or I'll go to that art class and just drop in and see how that's like, or I'm going to take some time in the evening after I'm done with work or other life things that I'm dealing with. Could be just families at home. Spring break's been happening, and I'm going to take some time out in the evening to go to the park or garden nearby and smell the flowers, the roses and more, or listen to the birds chirping. There are all these little things we can do to show our body that even when we are worried, stressed, overwhelmed, dealing with physical, emotional, mental things, that if you take that break, and I love this book by Laura Vanderkam, which really showed me how skewed my perception of time was at the time and how we all tend to be biased around time. The book is called Off the Clock. I've read it now, gosh, might be 10 years ago. It's been a while. Her research, she had run a survey. So I don't know if research is too strong a term, but she had done a survey amongst like 700 plus people is how I remember it. And one of the biggest takeaways she had from that research was that, when people have busy full days, but then you rinse repeat do the same thing day after day, it all blurs. Like, haven't you had that experience? But if you take some time out to do something different, it actually makes your brain think that you have more time, you have more space because you did something different. You went out, and isn't that so powerful to tell yourself a different story? Instead of telling that you're stressed, you're worried, you're overloaded, you have so much going on, if you can take, I would say, 10 minutes to do something that you would not have given yourself permission to on a weekday, at a time when you feel like you've got too much going on or you're tired. I'm not asking you to do something big. It's something small, something fun, something playful. Consider it your playtime. For me, I've been testing out painting at night, still testing it out. I have been testing out journaling or voice journaling, things that I really enjoy, but I don't allow myself to do it, so I don't end up doing them. And I can feel how much of a difference it makes in my life when I do such things. So, sharing all of this to tell you the messy up and down journey it has felt like for me to release an important ritual I thought for this time that, I think many of people, I live in the Bay Area, a lot of people have been navigating job changes, losses, and more. It's been tough to hear and watch, and so this felt important to create. And if you know someone who would benefit, please share it with them. If you would benefit, you're more than welcome to sign up. You can use an alias or keep it anonymous in whichever way as you sign up. That's okay. This is not something people talk about a lot, so I feel extra called to offer all these options to make it easy to access. More details are in the link, but really also here to share this update that I felt a bit slowed down in a good way, in the best way possible, and I'm embracing it because of this hand injury that I have. And I'm going to make the most of this time, making the most by not doing as much as possible, learning how to truly slow down and enjoy the rest, allowing my nervous system to get extra sleep when it can. All things that I'm learning. It is a practice for someone who has spent a lot of time doing at work, who has spent a lot of time doing for family. We, as women, and I want to close with this message because this came up in a channeling recently for me. We are very used to, as women, doing a lot of unseen labor. It is how we were rewarded. It is how we were allowed to fit in the world. And I have chills as I say that. It's how the world progressed in many ways. It's because of a lot of our unseen labor. My goodness, I am so covered in chills right now. Like my tingles all over my head, down my arms. Just taking a moment for you to receive the impact of that recognition. I feel like we as a collective have this ancestral memory of doing so much, especially as women. If you identify as a woman or are in a role that is putting you in what might be considered a historically traditional women-like role, whatever may be your gender expression, like, nurses to other kinds of caregivers. And it's a lot of unseen labor in sometimes you are compensated for it and recognized for it, but more often than not, you are not. And I just want to see you, help you see yourself for doing all that. It is coming from a place of love. It is coming from a place of I must do it and support the people, the circumstances around me. And I feel like the guides especially want you to receive this message that this is unseen labor and it is possible to change that. It is possible to operate differently. It doesn't feel like an overnight, you flip a switch and here you are doing things differently. But it takes practice to do things in a way that are much more seen, to allow yourself to be recognized for the hard work and even easeful things that you do, because they come from a place of talent and gifts that you have. So it's not always hard work, but it's allowing your work to be seen and allowing yourself to be seen. Something that we do tend to carry as wounds from the past. So maybe that's a message that, do we need to do more healing, clearing right now? I hear a no from the guides. I'm hearing this is just a time to recognize that and to be in observation, to witness how might that be showing up in your life. And by you recognizing this work, this thing you do, may others recognize it too. It's a matter of that energy exchange to flow, for you to see yourself and others to see you, and to allow your guides to see you, and to thank you and to love you. All right, well, that took a direction that I wasn't intending, but thank you for listening. I'm receiving your love and messages of support and healing for my hand. I'm trusting it's getting better and continuing to get better. If you're going through anything physical, mental, emotional that feels hard, I am asking all of our collective guides with their highest self permission, meaning those that they support, their higher self permission, to send us all lots of love, grounding, and support and healing. Just feel that in your body and any body parts that wish to receive. Thank you for receiving.